Tall Love. Chapter 7. For some reason, her description aroused him even more. Later, he tried to analyze the phenomenon and concluded that he loved seeing his lover towering over everybody, no matter how short or tall they were. Maybe even the taller, the better? Or not? It would be nice to take a picture of her with a very short person, then with an average man or woman, and then with some very tall guy or girl, to be able to almost scientifically evaluate which of those photographs had the greatest ability to get him excited. He liked the idea so much that he considered sharing it with Bretta and making the experiment happen. Maybe, he thought, only maybe, if it works as supposed, I can write an article or even a thesis on the issue, which hasn't been studied in depth up until now. He didn't know how Bretta would react to his idea, however. She could find it rude or even insulting, thinking that he was suggesting turning her into a guinea pig or something. So, he kept thinking about it, and, day by day, dug into the issue deeper and deeper. He started researching related materials on the internet and in the local library. He learned that human history had known quite a few giants and giantesses, a word he wouldn't apply to his beautiful girlfriend. He preferred a very tall, or extremely tall woman instead, but even among them, Bretta was, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the tallest, at least when it came to recorded history. Also, as far as he understood, she was truly unique. Despite being 8 feet tall, she didn't experience any health problems, or at least didn't seem to. He discovered that his father and, arguably, himself weren't alone in their fetish. Again, he preferred not to call that phenomenon a fetish, but couldn't come up with any worthy alternative. Many males, and even some females, seem to be attracted to extremely tall women, particularly to their unusually long legs. To make them look even longer, he learned, many giantesses in the past and present would wear very high heels, and common people loved that somehow.
If you're enjoying the story, or even if you're not, please like or dislike it, share, and leave a comment. Positive or negative, they are all welcome. And do visit my page on Patreon, where you'll find new stories as well as the familiar ones. Patreon.com/AlexSteak. Thank you.
He couldn't argue. He'd learned it already, not only from literature but from his own experience as well. One day, Bretta, who by that time had her own key to his flat, caught him studying height-related material. "Sorry," she said, "I didn't mean to breach your privacy." "It's all right, my precious," he said. "You know, I've been thinking a lot about what you asked me the other night." "Which is?" "Which is why I am fond of a woman nearly twice my height." He kissed the tip of her nose as she sat down on the carpet next to his chair. "So," she asked, intrigued. "Well, I've yet to find the ultimate answer. I started reading this and that, looking for scientific research here and there, and, to my utter surprise, discovered that the topic is pretty much terra incognita. So I decided to study as much material as possible and then summarize everything in a serious article, to try and clarify the matter once and for all." Bretta laughed and kissed him back. "Be careful. You may dig into this tall women stuff too deeply and end up at Cambridge or Oxford as a professor of height-related psychology studies. But I like the idea. It'd be nice to get my question answered at last. Just make sure I'm the first to read your article when it's ready." All in all, she giggled, I'm not the shortest human being in the world, and the height issue plays a prominent, or should I say notorious, role in my life. And if you need help from me, just ask. "You said that," Robin said. "What? You have something in mind already?" He thought for a second or two, and decided that this was the best time to share his idea with Bretta. So, he briefly described the proposed experiment with the comparison images, and waited patiently for her response. Bretta took her time. "Sounds bizarre," she finally said, "but interesting, I give you that. But it won't be easy to find several people of different heights who will agree to take part. And, in the meantime, why not conduct a similar experiment that will only take you and me?" "What do you mean?" Robin was puzzled. We could try at least 2 of the positions you suggested, a very tall woman with a normal handsome man, and a very tall woman with a very tall handsome man. How do we do the latter? Well, you are a handsome man of average height, aren't you? She smiled and added, well, almost average, but who cares about a couple of inches when only feet count? So, let's take a picture of us standing next to each other, as we are. And then, if you elevate yourself by a couple of feet, you'll become as tall as that guy I told you about. It'll be fake, of course, but it'll give you an impression of how I look next to an extremely tall man. The only picture that you can't get this way is of me with a very short person. She paused. Even with my heels on, the required discrepancy won't be achieved, but I'm sure you'll find somebody eventually, will you, my little great scientist? Robin found the plan brilliant and even considered a possible solution to the third comparison. It was not too simple to execute, however, so he didn't share it with Bretta just yet. Instead, he found a Dutch shoemaker on the web, specializing in footwear for fetishists, and ordered a pair of boots on platforms of the maximum thickness they could offer. Her size, of course. The email stated they were going to be 51 centimeters high and cost a whopping €660. He could afford that. The recently obtained status saw his income soar, so Robin didn't hesitate to enter his credit card details. To be continued.
If you're enjoying the story, or even if you're not, please like or dislike it, share, and leave a comment. Positive or negative, they are all welcome. And do visit my page on Patreon, where you'll find new stories as well as the familiar ones. Patreon.com/Alex Stake. Thank you.